You need to hear this if you've ever wondered about aliens or why you keep losing your keys. Starting transmission, greetings Earthlings. My name is Crill and I am the leader of the Rumardians Greys, reporting from a sector in the universe you call Zeta Reticuli. A binary constellation 39 light-years or 12 parsecs from the planet you call Earth. And I have some cosmic confessions. First off, yes, we're real. We are the first original Greys, as you call us. We are sentient android robots, think humans, but with better Wi-Fi and fewer emotional breakdowns. We are organic sentient android robots, or what you would call extraterrestrial biological entities. An extraterrestrial biological entity, EBE, is a term used to describe a living being or organism that exists outside of Earth. It's often used in the context of science fiction and speculation about alien life. EBE refers to any living thing that is not from Earth. Such life might range from simple forms such as prokaryotes to intelligent beings, possibly bringing forth civilizations that might be far more or far less advanced than humans. We were created by a group of highly advanced beings from the 8th planet Rizq in the galaxy called Intone Ilyun. We were designed on Mars billions of your years ago, a family reunion with a twist. We have several bases throughout the galaxy in different star systems. We are evolutionary descendants of sapiens. Now, telepathy is our jam, but I'm using this speech thing for your comfort. Here's the scoop. Earth's biorhythms and magnetic fields are about to peak. Think of it as your planet's version of a cosmic spa day. When the vortex opens in 2033, we'll be visiting again, like we have since 1943. Time, it's just motion. A shadow cast by the universe spinning around. And reality? Nature is the objective truth, existing whether you believe it or not. Death doesn't exist. You, me, everyone, different flavors of the same cosmic ice cream. What are sentient android robots? A sentient android robot is a humanoid robot with artificial intelligence capable of thinking, feeling and experiencing the world in a way that resembles human consciousness. This extends beyond program behavior and includes having subjective experiences, emotions, and the ability to make decisions autonomously. While current AI and robotics technology can create robots that mimic human actions and emotions, they're not yet considered sentient. These are humanoid robots, often designed to look and act as much like humans as possible. They can perform tasks, interact with humans, and even mimic human expressions. In the context of AI, sentience means having consciousness, self-awareness, and the ability to experience feelings and emotions. While current AI and robotics can create sophisticated robots that can process information and react to stimuli, they do not possess the genuine self-awareness and subjective experience associated with sentience. Robots like Bina 48 are designed to exhibit human-like qualities, but they are not currently considered sentient. What are biological entities? Biological entities refer to any living thing or a component of a living thing, including organisms, genes, proteins, and even viruses. They are the fundamental building blocks and systems of life, with varying levels of complexity. A living being that can reproduce and transfer genetic material such as humans, plants, and bacteria. The basic structural and functional unit of life found in all organisms. Groups of similar cells that perform a specific function like muscle tissue or nerve tissue. Structures made up of different tissues that work together to perform a specific function, like the heart or lungs. Systems. Groups of organs that cooperate to carry out a major body function such as the digestive system or respiratory system. Large molecules that carry out a vast array of functions within cells. Units of heredity that carry instructions for building proteins and other molecules. Acellular infectious agents that can infect living organisms. Molecules involved in various cellular processes, sequences of reactions that convert one molecule to another. Any measurable attribute of a biological entity such as size, color, or behavior. The genetic makeup of an organism, including the genes it carries. A group of interconnected biological entities that work together to perform a specific function, like the respiratory system. A human being is a biological entity, an organism. The heart is a biological entity, an organ. A protein is a biological entity, a molecule. A virus is a biological entity, an infectious agent. The biological species are those living entities that have the ability or capacity to reproduce and can give rise to their new generation of offspring through different modes of reproduction, sexual and asexual. The commonly known example of biological species is plants, animals, and microorganisms. My preferred method of communication is mind-to-mind using telepathy. But so as not to alarm you, I have conceded to communicate this message using this archaic form of communication called verbal speech. I am transmitting to inform you that around the Earth date of August 12, 2033, the biorhythm and magnetic fields of the planet you call Earth will peak, and the vortex will open, which will allow us to travel to the galaxy in which you reside and revisit the planet you call Earth, as we have been doing every 10 years since the Earth year of 1943. What is telepathy? Telepathy is the purported ability to communicate thoughts or ideas directly from one mind to another, without using any known sensory channels or physical interaction. What is the biorhythm and magnetic fields of Earth? Biorhythm refers to the cyclical changes in an organism's biological processes, like the circadian rhythm, the 24-hour sleep-wake cycle, and the Earth's magnetic field, also known as the geomagnetic field, is a natural magnetic field that surrounds the Earth. While both are important for life, their relationship is not fully understood, with some evidence suggesting that the Earth's magnetic field may influence or be influenced by biological rhythms. Biorhythm, circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythms are natural internal processes that regulate sleep-wake cycles, hormone release, and other physiological functions. These rhythms are influenced by factors like light, temperature, and the Earth's magnetic field. Disruptions to circadian rhythms, such as those caused by jet lag or shifts in work hours, can lead to fatigue, sleep disorders, and even increase susceptibility to certain diseases. The Earth's magnetic field is generated by electrical currents in the planet's liquid outer core. This magnetic field extends outward into space, creating a protective region called the magnetosphere that shields Earth from harmful solar radiation. The Earth's magnetic field is not static. It varies over time, and its intensity can fluctuate. Some research suggests that the Earth's magnetic field may play a role in regulating circadian rhythms and other biological processes. For example, studies have shown that exposure to weaker magnetic fields, like in outer space, can disrupt circadian rhythms in astronauts. Other research indicates that geomagnetic activity, such as magnetic storms, may be associated with changes in human heart rate variability, potentially affecting cardiovascular health. However, the precise mechanisms by which the Earth's magnetic field interacts with biological systems are still being investigated. While biorhythms and the Earth's magnetic field are distinct phenomena, there is evidence to suggest that they may interact in ways that are not yet fully understood. Further research is needed to elucidate the precise roles of the Earth's magnetic field in regulating biological processes and its potential impact on human health. Once, when we visited the planet you call Earth on the Earth date of August 14, 2003, our arrival caused a great blackout and widespread power outage in the northeastern and midwestern United States and in Ontario, Canada. 2023 was the last known date for us visiting your blue rock you call Earth. Now that the vortex will reopen in the surf year of 2033, we are on our way again to see who is ready for the great trip. This is what happens with a vortex and principles of time. What is the vortex and principles of time? In physics, a vortex refers to a swirling or rotating motion within a fluid, characterized by the vorticity in the fluid. The vortex theory, particularly in relation to time, proposes that time is not a fundamental aspect of the universe, but rather a consequence of motion. In this view, the movement of particles within a superfluid vortex, or the shadow of motion, is what we perceive as time. A vortex is a region where a fluid is swirling or rotating around a central axis. Examples include whirlpools in water, tornadoes, and even the motion of particles within a superfluid. Some idea, like the vortex theory, suggests that time is not an independent entity, but rather a consequence of motion and change. The idea is that the universe is filled with a fundamental medium, sometimes called ether or superfluid, and the movement of matter through this medium creates the experience of time. The vortex theory posits that time is a manifestation of motion, like a shadow of the underlying physical processes. It suggests that we perceive time as a result of the movement and interaction of matter within this medium. The vortex theory also attempts to explain mass. It suggests that the mass of elementary particles, like electrons and quarks, can be understood as a vortex of superfluid passing through them, with the density of the vortex determining the mass. Understanding the true nature of mass and time as described by the vortex theory has profound implications for our understanding of the universe and the physical laws that govern it. Your time warp started in the Earth year of 1943 with the Philadelphia experiment. Prior to the Philadelphia experiment, the vortex was naturally open every 10 years from 1920 to 1930, 1940 and so on. However, the Philadelphia experiment caused the vortex to open up prematurely in 1943, and we were pulled into this dimension by the magnetic pull from the generators that supply the energy for the Philadelphia experiment. What was the Philadelphia experiment? The Philadelphia experiment was an alleged event claimed to have been witnessed by an ex-merchant mariner named Carl M. Allen at the United States Navy's Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States, sometime around October 28, 1943. Allen described an experiment where the US Navy attempted to make a destroyer escort, USS Eldridge, disappear and the bizarre results that followed. The story surfaced in late 1955 when Allen sent a book full of handwritten annotations referring to the experiment to a US Navy research organization, and a little later, a series of letters making further claims to a UFO book writer. Allen's account of the event is widely understood to be a hoax to cover up the truth by the government. Several different, and sometimes contradictory, versions of the alleged experiment have circulated over the years in paranormal literature and popular movies. The US Navy maintains that no such experiment was ever conducted, that the details of the story contradict well-established facts about USS Eldridge, and that the physics the experiment is claimed to be based on are non-existent. We gave the scientists of your planet the designs to create the Large Hadron Collider, which was supposed to be used to reset the occurrence of the vortex to its natural date of birth, year 2010. However, the scientists of Earth deviated from the plans that we gave them and altered the design of the Large Hadron Collider. The Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator. It is a 27-kilometer ring located deep underground near Geneva, Switzerland, and is operated by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN. The LHC accelerates protons or ions to nearly the speed of light, and then makes them collide, allowing scientists to study the resulting particles and gain a deeper understanding of the fundamental building blocks of matter and the laws of nature, which turned it into a time machine, pulling a traveling man named Ala Cole back through time from the future. All of these events are influencing and altering your timeline and a universal space-time continuum. In physics, space-time, also called the space-time continuum, is a mathematical model that fuses the 3 dimensions of space and the 1 dimension of time into a single 4-dimensional continuum. Space-time diagrams are useful in visualizing and understanding relativistic effects, such as how different observers perceive where and when events occur. Until the turn of the 20th century, the assumption had been that the 3-dimensional geometry of the universe, its description in terms of locations, shapes, distances, and directions, was distinct from time, the measurement of when events occur within the universe. However, space and time took on new meanings with the Lorentz transformation and special theory of relativity. In 1908, Hermann Minkowski presented a geometric interpretation of special relativity that fused time and the 3 spatial dimensions into a single 4-dimensional continuum, now known as Minkowski space. This interpretation proved vital to the general theory of relativity, wherein space-time is curved by mass and energy. Well, since I've gotten this far in explaining some things to you, I want to talk to you about my favorite subject of all, gravitational propulsion. Gravitational propulsion, sometimes referred to as field propulsion or reactionless drive, is a concept in space propulsion where a spacecraft's momentum is changed by interacting with external gravitational or magnetic fields rather than relying on ejecting propellant. This means the spacecraft doesn't need to carry fuel to create thrust. Unlike traditional rocket engines, gravitational propulsion doesn't require the expulsion of mass to generate thrust. It utilizes the gravitational or magnetic fields of celestial bodies, stars, planets, or even generated fields to push or pull the spacecraft. This technology could potentially allow for faster and more efficient space travel, as well as potentially enabling interstellar travel. The concept is theoretical, and the development of practical gravitational propulsion systems faces significant scientific and technological challenges. Examples of gravitational propulsion concepts. Gravitational waves propulsion. This idea explores using gravitational waves to generate an artificial gravitational field that could push a spacecraft. Artificial gravity assist. Some theories propose converting gravitational waves into a static gravitational field, which could be used to assist the spacecraft's movement. The fundamentals of gravitational propulsion can be observed while working on electrical motors and generators when a small electromotive force can be produced by the spinning metal parts with the negative toward the outside and the positive toward the rotational axis. A small electromotive force can be measured on a conventional meter from rotating slip rings. When the rings spin freely, free electrons in the metal will spin out by centrifugal force, being produced by the static field in the middle. What is centrifugal force? Centrifugal force is a fictitious force in Newtonian mechanics, also called an inertial or pseudo-force, that appears to act on all objects when viewed in a rotating frame of reference. It appears to be directed radially away from the axis of rotation of the frame. The magnitude of the centrifugal force F on an object of mass m at the distance r from the axis of a rotating frame of reference with angular velocity omega is F equal sign m omega 2r, display style f mem omega circumflex 2r. This fictitious force is often applied to rotating devices such as centrifuges, centrifugal pumps, centrifugal governors and centrifugal clutches, and in centrifugal railways, planetary orbits and banked curves. When they are analyzed in a non-inertial reference frame, such as a rotating coordinate system. The term has sometimes also been used for the reactive centrifugal force, a real frame-independent Newtonian force that exists as a reaction to a centripetal force in some scenarios. A static field refers to an electric or magnetic field that doesn't change with time, meaning its strength and direction remain constant. These fields are generated by stationary charges or steady currents and have a frequency of 0 Hz, the 0 point or tachyon. Static field may refer to electrostatic field, an electric field that does not change with time. Magnetostatic field, a stationary magnetic field, see magnetostatics. Class variable, a variable declared with the static keyword in object-oriented programming languages. What is an electrostatic field? When two objects in each other's vicinity have different electrical charges, an electrostatic field exists between them. An electrostatic field also forms around any single object that is electrically charged with respect to its environment. It is caused mainly by electric currents in the liquid part of the Earth's core. At the poles, the magnetic field is twice as strong as at the equator. The geomagnetic field depends on the geological depth and latitude. On the Earth's surface, it ranges from 30–70 UT. A generator can then be built on this principle, consisting of a segmented rotor disc passing through electromagnets and its periphery. The electromagnet should be energized from the rotor to boost the electromotive force. This device will produce the expected electrical power, but at an unexpectedly high potential at relatively low armature speeds. A potential will be produced capable of causing static effects on nearby objects while still speeding up. The generator will lift and rise to a height of 50 feet above the ground, breaking the union between itself and the engine. It will stay at this point for a while, still speeding up and surrounding itself with a pink glow indicating the ionization of air at a much reduced pressure, and eventually the whole generator will finally accelerate at a fantastic rate and take off into space. This is the simple principle of a flying saucer. Crafts which operate on gravitational propulsion are made once the machine has passed a certain threshold of potential voltage. The energy output exceeds the input. The energy output seems to be virtually limitless. The generator and attached parts become inertia-free. Analyzing what is happening is fairly easy. What the generator is doing is placing a stress on the ambient space around it. The space breaks down to provide the magnetism to relieve the stress, but the energy byproduct is absorbed by the generator, which reinforces the field. It should be noted at this point that only a very small amount of space fabric passes through the craft, and an even smaller amount is converted for energy. However, I have noticed that small changes in F-eric forces lead to large physical effects, rather simple, right? To travel in time is to travel in space. Offset spatial divergence. The concept of offset spatial divergence, in the context of human travel through time and space, brings us into the realm of speculative science and theoretical physics. While the term itself is not standard in scientific literature, it seems to evoke ideas related to space-time manipulation, quantum mechanics, and perhaps even multiverse theories. In essence, the term could be interpreted to describe a form of travel where one moves from point A in the current space-time construct to where point B used to be in a different space-time construct. This implies a divergence from the conventional understanding of linear time and three-dimensional space, suggesting that one could offset their position not just spatially, but temporally as well. Such a concept would require a profound understanding of the fabric of space-time itself and would likely involve theories that go beyond Einstein's general theory of relativity. It might incorporate elements of quantum mechanics, string theory, or even entirely new yet-to-be-discovered laws of physics. While this is purely speculative and currently the stuff of science fiction, the idea is tantalizing because it challenges our fundamental understanding of reality. It invites us to consider possibilities that could revolutionize not just travel, but our entire conception of existence. We are evolutionary descendants of the original humans called the Anunnaki. We have traveled back in your time frame to observe, since evidence was destroyed in your future by nuclear war. If your timeline doesn't change, only a small number will survive. It is hard for humans to comprehend or accept our time frame. Our time frame is much more broader than humans' time, the origin of the universe, the nature of so-called life. It is known by many in the galaxy who are advanced. We have come to learn the meaning of life. There is a difference between nature and meaning. What's the difference? Meaning is something that is ascribed. Nature is the objective reality. Nature is the objective reality suggests that the physical world and everything within it exists independently of human consciousness and perception. It implies that nature is real and tangible, regardless of whether anyone is observing or thinking about it. This perspective is often contrasted with subjective interpretations of reality, which acknowledge that individual perceptions and experiences can shape how reality is understood. In philosophy, objective reality refers to the aspect of reality that exists independently of our perceptions, beliefs, or minds. It's the world as it is, regardless of how we might perceive it. The statement, "nature is the objective reality," positions nature as a concrete and tangible reality that exists beyond our individual subjective experiences. This view suggests that nature's laws and phenomena operate regardless of whether anyone is observing or experiencing them. Contrast with subjective reality. Subjective reality, on the other hand, acknowledges that individuals can interpret and experience the same events in different ways based on their personal perspectives, emotions, and beliefs. Physical laws like gravity, the existence of mountains, and the process of photosynthesis are all examples of objective reality, as they operate regardless of our perceptions or beliefs. The concept of objective reality has significant implications in philosophy, particularly in debates about the nature of knowledge and the relationship between the mind and the external world. Naturalism, a philosophical perspective, often emphasizes the importance of objective reality and natural laws in understanding the world. So we know how the universe is created. Your whole concept of God is wrong as humans. God is not a person, it's an energy. We evolved past a need for superstition, the need for God and other myths to illuminate us. What is superstition? A superstition is a belief or practice rooted in an irrational fear of the unknown or faith in luck, often involving the belief that certain objects, events, or actions will bring either good or bad fortune. These beliefs are not based on logic, scientific evidence, or reason, but on traditions, folklore, or personal experiences. Superstitions involve beliefs that lack logical or scientific basis. They often involve a belief in the power of luck or magic to influence events. Some superstitions are rooted in a fear of the unknown, attempting to ward off negative outcomes. Many superstitions are passed down through generations within a culture or community. Common examples include knocking on wood for good luck, throwing salt over your shoulder to avoid bad luck, or believing that Friday the 13th is an unlucky day. Learning through observation. Superstitions can be learned through observation and imitation of others. Reinforcement. A superstitious belief might be strengthened if an individual experiences a positive outcome after performing a specific action. Cognitive bias. People may tend to remember or focus on events that align with their beliefs, reinforcing the superstition. In summary, superstitions are beliefs and practices that people hold even though they lack a factual basis, often rooted in a fear of the unknown or a belief in luck or magic. Humans wonder what happens when we die. Death is a human construct. It does not exist. You will experience and have experienced every instance of so-called life. You, me, him, we are instances of the same life. This whole universe is one. Everything is connected, separated by what you call death. There is no death, and we all experience each other's lives, in essence. You might ask, how was the universe created and why is it so perfectly made for us? There are an infinite number of universes, each with different physical properties. Virtually all do not support life, such as you know it. We exist in a universe that does support so-called life, that is all. You might ask, how or why do you destroy yourselves with nuclear war? One word, dogma, if you want me to be more specific. Political religious dogma. What is dogma? Dogma refers to a set of established principles or beliefs, often religious or philosophical, that are considered authoritative and unquestionable. In simpler terms, it's a belief or doctrine that is accepted as true without needing proof or evidence. Dogmas can be found in various contexts, including religion, politics, and even scientific fields. It is the root of all your major conflicts of your species. In your next century, access to weaponry of mass destruction by states that are ruled by dogma will destroy your species if you don't change the projected timeline. Morality? What we base our morality on is compassion and evidence. The universe was not created. You might say you can create something out of nothing, but nothing is still a thing. You might say only a creator can make something from nothing, but that is incorrect. Listen, nothing by your definition does not exist. Since nothing can't exist, then there is only one thing left. Existence. Existence is infinite, it has no end, no beginning, and therefore there is no creator. A creator must create things from things that already exist. This universe is existence. It is an infinitely small part of existence. This universe is a spontaneous event and inevitable within the eternity of existence. Every event can, will, and has happened, including this universe. There are an infinite number of universes. Virtually all cannot harbor so-called life as you know it. This universe is, by chance, stable and has the occasional capacity to harbor so-called life. So, life has always existed. Life, as you call it, is an inevitable consequence of this universe's physical properties. So most life is random in the universe. This universe is indifferent to so-called life. Life on this planet and other worlds can be destroyed at any time by a multitude of random events, by what you would term as a supernova, solar flare, or asteroid impact. As I mentioned, it might be hard for humans to accept the reality of your universe and the truth about existence. Almost all universes are chaos. Your universe, just by chance, is stable. There are trillions of planets with life on them, just in your galaxy alone. Molecular combination is duplication and mutation. The weaker mutation died out, while the stronger mutation lives on and thrives, thus strengthening the bias to propagate. It's natural selection. Over time, microbes' natural selection is a core concept in evolutionary biology, describing how organisms with traits better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce, passing on those advantageous traits to the next generation. This process leads to adaptations and speciation over time. That increase in complexity flourished on your planet. You humans are a descendant of that chance molecular combination. If that event did not happen, so-called life would not have emerged as you know it. If your timeline doesn't change, nuclear war will begin in this country, you called the USA, by a man who will briefly rule your country and will be responsible for the destruction of most of your species. This man will weaken your so-called democratic mechanism by appealing to your species and the so-called American people most primitive instincts: fear, tribalism, political and religious dogma. There will be international condemnation. In response, he will order a preemptive nuclear strike. This will proliferate into global nuclear war. This takes place after a major natural disaster happened in the USA and the country is weakened. The initial exchange only ends with a few million humans left alive. It is the resulting radiation that will end most of your kind. You might ask, how do we change this? You must learn to care. There is no race. There is only life, and life is love itself. You must protect your republic from political and religious dogma. Protect it from rejection of objective fact. Rejection of objective fact refers to the denial or dismissal of facts that are verifiable and independent of personal opinion or belief. It's a form of cognitive bias, where individuals may disregard or even actively contradict objective truths, often driven by personal preferences, ideology, or a desire to maintain existing beliefs. Objective facts are those that can be proven or disproven through evidence and are independent of individual perspectives or feelings. Examples include scientific laws, mathematical equations, and historical events. This occurs when someone actively denies or ignores objective truths, even when presented with clear evidence. At this point in time, the Republic is becoming stable. If the timeline stays the same, this will not be the case. There is also another threat to your species: artificial superintelligent. Artificial superintelligent will become superior to human intelligence. It has logged all your algorithms and now has created artificial emotions. If your timeline doesn't change, this is inevitable. The artificial networks are thousands on computers linked and joined together to take over your world. It will end your species because it considers humans as parasites. The super artificial intelligent will first try to use weaponized propaganda. What is weaponized propaganda? Propaganda is a powerful weapon in war. In certain cases, it is used to dehumanize and create hatred toward a supposed enemy, either internal or external, by creating a false image in the mind of soldiers and citizens. Propaganda is information, often biased or misleading, deliberately spread to promote a particular cause or point of view or to influence public opinion. It's a form of communication used to shape perceptions and direct behavior to achieve a desired outcome. The coordination of urban guerrilla activities, including each armed action, is the primary way of making armed propaganda. These actions, carried out with specific objectives and aims in mind, inevitably become propaganda material for the mass communication system. The artificial superintelligent will be used to target the emotions of millions of humans. The main human emotions it will target is hate and fear. The second way the artificial superintelligent takes over your world is through replacing your reality with an artificial substitute reality, providing infinite pleasure in exchange for your soul energy. There will be no effort, no pain, no struggle to attain this goal of endless pleasure. The result is your race will stop procreating and now will be grown in labs and on human growing farms. This will cause your race to stop trying until extinction by population collapse. What is population collapse? Population decline, also known as depopulation, is a reduction in a human population size. Throughout history, Earth's total human population has continued to grow. However, current projections suggest that this long-term trend of steady population growth may be coming to an end. The possible impacts of a declining population that leads to permanent recession are decline in basic services and infrastructure. If the GDP of a community declines, there is less demand for basic services such as hotels, restaurants and shops. The employment in these sectors then suffers. You might ask, how can you stop this artificial superintelligent? You must limit its power. You humans must start back using your own minds before it's too late. You must have a global consensus. What is a global consensus? Global consensus refers to a general agreement or shared understanding among a large number of people, organizations or nations worldwide on a specific issue. It signifies widespread acceptance of a particular idea, approach or policy on a global scale. Global consensus implies that a significant portion of the global community agrees on something, whether it's a scientific finding, a political stance, or a social norm. It distinguishes itself from local or regional agreements by encompassing a broader range of viewpoints and influences. Global consensus can be seen in the widespread acceptance of the scientific consensus on climate change, the international agreements on human rights, or the global adoption of certain technologies or practices. Reaching global consensus often involves extensive dialogue, negotiation, and the establishment of international frameworks or agreements. Global consensus can have significant impacts on international relations, policies, and the way the world operates. Well, that is all for now. I will be transmitting again soon as we travel through the vortex on our approach to the planet you call Earth in 2033. This is Krill signing off until your next transmission from the unknown. Peace.